The Ministry is working on a program with perpetrators on anger management and conflict resolution. The aim is to ensure responsible partnership in their relationships.
Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président. Knowing that therapy for perpetrators is not mandatory, would the Minister inform the House how many perpetrators have already been rehabilitated, and is there any follow-up once the rehabilitation program is completed? Mr.
Speaker, sir, in my answer, I've just mentioned that it is the court that orders, therefore it is mandatory. When the court decides that that person has to go for rehabilitation courses, he has to.
Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président. Would the Minister inform the House if the Ministry is considering to recruit permanent marriage counseling expert dedicated to the rehabilitation of perpetrators and reconciliation of the couples, à l'instar de ce qui a été fait par Madame Bapou en tant que ministre de l'époque?
You can't compare. What's the use of doing all these things? If you smile. What is that? Question should not be a comparison, one minister against another minister. But of course, show me where it is written. Can you show me where it is written? Any one thing, of course, show me where it is written. In which standing order? Where is they asking me? Okay, you may answer the first part.
Sir, I'm not aware whether this is in the policy of the ministry or not, but I think that it would be interesting if you could ask a question to the substantive minister once she is back.
Next question.
Stroke 1531, please.
Mr. Speaker, sir, as we celebrate the World Fisheries Day today, I take this opportunity to wish our fishers a very happy Fisheries Day today. Mr. Speaker, sir, I would refer the honourable member to the reply I made to parliamentary question number B 312 of 11 May 2021 from Honourable David on the same subject matter. As highlighted in my reply to that parliamentary question, frozen captain fish, commonly called la perle, is imported to address the issue of shortage of fish on the local market, mainly during the winter months of May to August, when local operators do not normally embark on fishing trips, and also during the festive season in December. As from 2001, the importation of captain has been categorized as controlled species and has been subject to an annual import quota of 800 tons. This decision was taken to protect our local fishing operators and fishers. At that point in time, Mr. Speaker, sir, that is in 2001, there was about 12 industrial fishing vessels operating in the bank fishery with a total annual catch of approximately 3,000 to 4,000 tons yearly. The vessels operating in industrial bank fisheries have, however, gradually stopped their activities, and currently there are no Mauritian flag vessels engaged in industrial fishing for demersal species. It is also to be noted that the two industrial fishing companies, means RPP and other one is SFC, the main suppliers of frozen captain fish, are not operational since January 2021. In 2022, there were 25 fishing vessels operating in the semi-industrial fishery, harvesting a total of 1,060 tons of fish, including 808 tons of white fish, namely capitaine and sacre. From January to October 2023, 29 semi-industrial fishing vessels have been operational and have harvested a total of 869 tons of white fish. The normal monthly consumption of fish is estimated at 500 tons, except for the months of December, when the local consumption rises to 1,000 tons due to festive season. Mr. Speaker, sir, as you may be aware, the tourism sector. So here we would like to congratulate our DPM. With regard to the tourism sector, contributes significantly to our economy. As at end of September this year, we have already exceeded 1 million tourist arrivals in Mauritius. So given this substantial consumption of fish in hotels, my ministry also cater for this important pillar of our economy. Moreover, the closure of net fishing from October to February of the following year, means every year, also contributes to a monthly deficit of at least 80 tons of fish on the local market. As regards the winter season, the catch of whitefish during this period tends to be low due to reduced activities by the semi-industrial fishing vessels in view of unfavorable weather conditions. The local production of fish is thus not sufficient to cope with the ever-increasing demand for fish, both for local and hotel consumption during these particular periods. It should be noted that most of our semi-industrial fishing vessels are equipped to carry chilled fish. There are only 5 semi-industrial vessels which land frozen whitefish amounting to 300 tons yearly compared to 900 tons of chilled fish yearly. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to the first part of the question, my ministry has authorized the importation of 300 tons of capitaine fish for the upcoming festive season, that is from 1st December to 15th of January 2024. The quota has been shared among the registered importers based on their previous performance. I'm tabling the list of importers together with the quota allocated for the forthcoming festive season. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to the second part of the question, the registered importers normally send the application for import permit to import capitaine and sacré mainly prior to the start of winter or the festive season. When processing the application, my ministry also takes into account the performance of the applicant based on the quantity of fish imported as compared to the quota allocated for the previous season. It is worth noting that in most cases, the importers are unable to import the quantity of fish authorized during this specified period, as these products are not available on the shelf and should be ordered well in advance. Mr. Speaker, sir, as per our records, the quantity of fish imported is normally less than the quota allocated. For instance, for 2021, a total of 367 tons of capitaine was imported for both the winter and festive seasons, whereas for year 22, the amount imported stood at 168 tons for both seasons. So, as you may see, Mr. Speaker, sir, despite the quota is 800,000 tons yearly, this is a quantum that is imported by our importers. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm tabling the figures for the year 2021, 2022, and the winter season of 2023. Accordingly, Mr. Speaker, sir, when allocating the quota to the registered importers, my ministry takes into account their respective importing capacity. The quota is thus apportioned among the importers, and they are then informed by my ministry that they may proceed with application for an import permit through the online trade net portal. The import permit delivered by my ministry is valid only for the period that the import of capitaine fish is authorized. Moreover, each consignment of imported capitaine is verified by the import and export unit of my ministry to ascertain that the amount of fish imported does not exceed the quota allocated and that the other species of fish is not illegally included in their consignment.
The Honourable Minister for his comprehensive reply. Notwithstanding the undue hardship being faced by fishers from semi-industrial, who operate on semi-industrial vessels and owners of semi-industrial vessels, why is it that the ministry does not consider giving special and differential treatment to Fishers Association and those who are involved in the semi-industrial fishing vessels?
Mr. Speaker, I do understand with regard to our cooperative or individuals who operate in the semi-industrial sector. Being given that most of them, that 900 tons are chill fish, and as honorable member was himself Minister for Fisheries. For shellfish, after their fishing trip, when they are here, it's got only 3 days to sell their product, while for the frozen fish can stay for 2 years. So we do understand the hardship with regard the semi-industrial sector to sell their fish in that 3 days only. But my ministry is looking how to help our semi-industrial sector. We are working how to revamp. The honourable member himself is aware with regard the cold room that we have in the port area. And I think we're working on that this cold room be put at the disposal of the semi-industrial sector for, of course, for this sector to take off as we wish.
Can I reiterate what I've said? Can I impress upon the Minister to make sure that special and differential treatment is given to them in relation to import of this fish? At least, they can make up for shortfall in revenue, and at least they can act a decent living. Okay?
Mr. Speaker, sir, in fact, even all the operators in the semi-industrial sector, they are allowed to apply for importation. Of course, we'll take into consideration and priority will be given for our operators in the semi-industrial with regard to allocation of quota for importation during these specific periods. Yes.
Next question.
B1532. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed by the State Trading Corporation that with regard to claims put forward by Betamax Limited in connection with the arbitration proceedings and court cases, a claim of 2,524,400.77 pounds sterling for costs was put before the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council. However, the latter assessed the cost to be 579,227 rupees 50 cents pounds sterling, and same has been paid by the STC to Betamax Limited. With regard to the claims of costs in the Supreme Court of Mauritius, Betamax Limited had served a notice for same to STC, but on the 10th of March 2023, the STC was informed by its legal team that the application was removed with no order to costs. On the 20th October 2023, I am informed that the STC received a claim from Betamax Limited for payment of costs incurred in the Supreme Court of Mauritius amounting to 75 million rupees, and same has been transferred to the legal team of the STC for advice. Mr. Speaker, sir, with respect to the part A of the question, I am tabling the name of the legal advisors of the STC. Regarding part B of the question, that is, the fees paid to the legal advisors in each case, I am informed by the STC that the following amount was paid in each respective case. Number A, Singapore International Arbitration Center, 69,491,167 rupees and 72 cents. With respect to High Court of Karnataka, 13,267,290 rupees and 31 cents. With respect to the Supreme Court of Mauritius, 27,954,901 rupees and 3 cents. And concerning Judicial Committee of the Privy Council, 43,443,426 rupees and 73 cents.
May I know from the Honourable Minister, the case has been over for a couple of years now. Why is it that up to now the cost of Betamax, the 75 million rupees, has not been paid? What is the reason for not paying same?
I've told Mr. Speaker, sir, in my reply, I just said that with regard to the claim of costs in the Supreme Court of Mauritius, that Betamax Limited has served a notice for same to STC, but on the 10th of March 2023, the STC was informed by its legal team that the application was removed with no order to cost. And then it was only on the 20th of October 2023, just 1 month back, that we are informed that the STC received a claim from Betamax Limited for payment of costs incurred in the Supreme Court of Mauritius amounting to 75 million. So our team, our legal team, are working on it.
Being given the costs of legal fees and costs amounting to, using the figures you've just mentioned, close to 200 million rupees, has government initiated any action against the board members of the STC whose action resulted in taxpayers having to fork out 200 million rupees only in legal fees and costs?
Mr. Speaker, sir, may I remind the honourable member that if we had kept this contract with Betamax, not only would we have had to pay prices higher than at international level, but also we would have had to pay for full cargoes, for half-empty cargoes. Or even when no trip is made, we would have had to pay for the trip. Because in the contract of the Betamax, you know, it was said that we have to pay for 16 trips, even if 16 trips is not to be done. So we are going to pay for cargo, phantom, and all. So you see, that's why on legal advice we have to resiliate this contract.
Order. Next question, MP David.
B 1533.
Mr. Speaker, sir, with a view to offering a financial support to the actors of the cultural and creative sectors, and to further develop their artistic talent and create new art productions, a number of financial assistance schemes have been put in place by my ministry. And these are assistance for the production of audio album, general assistance scheme, international travel grant scheme, scheme for participation in international competition, scheme for participation in international award ceremonies, film assistance scheme, purchase of book scheme, and artist incubator scheme. In addition to the above schemes, which are operated under the ministry, other financial grants are offered to artists under the National Arts Fund following calls for projects. These are the Emerging Talent Grant, the Production Grant, Capacity Building Grant, Research Grant, and finally the Digital Creative Art Grant. The President's Fund for Creative Writing, which operates under the aegis of the Ministry, and whose objective is to promote and preserve the creative writings in all languages, written and spoken in Mauritius, also offers two schemes, namely a financial assistance of 30,000 rupees to authors for the publication of their books, and a scheme for the publication of the books of authors by the fund itself. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to part A of the question, I'm informed that 295 artists have benefited from all the above mentioned schemes for the financial year 2022-2023. Concerning part Roman 1 of the question, an amount of around 16.6 million rupees have been disbursed. With regards to Roman 2 and B of the question, with your permission, Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm tabling the list of the grant and the number of beneficiaries together with the respective quantum of funds dished out for each beneficiary.
Monsieur le Président, le ministre a mentionné donc 295 artistes qui ont bénéficié donc d'assistance financière de son ministère. Or, dans les budget estimates 2022-2023 que nous avons votés dans cette Chambre, il y avait un objectif, selon les dires de son ministère, de 3000 artistes qui devaient être soutenus under various schemes. Or, les résultats démontrés aujourd'hui par le ministre, c'est 10 fois moins d'artistes et pour une valeur qui me semble être supérieure car nous avions voté à l'époque un budget de 12 millions de roupies sous ces différents schemes. Le ministre peut-il nous expliquer la disparité entre les chiffres prévus et finalement réalisés?
What we need to understand, Mr. Speaker, sir, all these schemes are available to artists and they have to apply for these schemes. So it's open to artists. We call for them to participate in all our in our schemes, in our grants, but it all depends on how they react to all those calls for application. And this is the reason we have an estimate of 2,000, 3,000 artists who will benefit from all those schemes. But all depends on how they react to our calls. But in terms of disparity of the amount, au fil du temps, au courant de l'année, when we see that we are not having the amount, the number of artists coming forward for the application, ce qu'on fait, on essaye to maximize the amount given to artists. For instance, there are artists who are traveling for international competitions. So we try to get maximum amount to them to allow them to bring larger groups or more people to attend to those competitions, to those awards, to those ceremonies abroad. So it depends, as long as we're able to further subsidize those artists in terms of a grant, so we do it.
Le ministre a-t-il un chiffre sur le nombre d'artistes qui ont déposé un dossier de candidature pour pouvoir bénéficier d'assistance financière et dont les applications ont été rejetées?
Unfortunately, I don't have the figures with me, but I'll be very happy to communicate. Same. What we have and what I've communicated is the amount, the number of beneficiaries for all the grants offered by the ministry, but more than willing to submit the figures.
Leopold.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. B1534.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the estimated resident population in Rodrigues is 44,783, and the island comprises one district general hospital with some 170 beds and over 10,000 admissions annually, 2 health centers with inpatient facilities equipped with a total of 50 beds, and 12 community health centers providing primary health care services, including treatment of common diseases and injuries. The health personnel in Rodrigues consists mainly of 31 doctors, that is 1 doctor for 1,445 inhabitants, compared to 2,378 inhabitants in 2011. 3 dentists, 248 nursing staff, that is 1 nurse midwife for 181 inhabitants compared to 1 for 236 inhabitants in 2011. 2 pharmacists, 4 health inspectors, 7 lab technologists, 4 medical imaging technologists, 12 pharmacy technicians, and 22 health record staff. The healthcare services in Rodrigues comprise inpatient and outpatient services, maternal and child health, dental care, physiotherapy treatment, radiology services, including CT scan, echography, and hysterosal pingogram, hemodialysis treatment, and immunization services. It's worth highlighting that as an example, that is from 1st to 12th November 2023, a total of 34 patients have been referred to Mauritius for treatment. Therefore, the question of tardy diagnosis does not arise. Moreover, complicated cases such as colon, cardiology, and orthopedic surgeries are immediately referred to Mauritius. Mr. Speaker, so every year, an assessment of human resources is carried out, and during budget consultations exercise, a proposal is made to the Ministry of Finance, Economic Planning and Development for the recruitment of additional manpower for the health sector in Rodrigues with a view to further strengthen the care system thereat. As regard to Part B of the question, the House may wish to note that specialists, senior specialists in the following fields are posted to Rodrigues on a monthly tour of service: general medicine, general surgery, obstetrics and gynecology 2-month rotation, orthopedic surgery, radiology, psychiatry, anesthesia, and pediatrics. Mr. Speaker, sir, specialists, senior specialists posted on tour of service in Rodrigues work in constant consultation with their respective consultant in charge. If ever there is a complicated case, after discussion with the relevant consultant in charge in Mauritius, the patient is immediately referred to Mauritius for treatment through established protocol. Additionally, the adoption of telemedicine is being considered through the implementation of the e-health project. This project would be an efficient and cost-effective means for delivering quality of care services and would reduce healthcare spending by decreasing problems like unnecessary emergency referral, prolonged hospitalizations, as well as reduced patient travel costs and time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, given the fact that all the visiting specialists, they work on a 24-hour basis, seven basis, would the Honourable Minister indicate whether his ministry will give a special package to senior specialists and specialists so that they have an incentive to remain and stay in Rodrigues for 1 year or 2 years?
Mr. Speaker, sir, the tour of service is part of the duties that any public officer has to accomplish once he is recruited by the Public Service Commission. So obviously, there is an allowance given to those who are posted in Rodrigues so that they can, there is always established allowances for these purposes as prescribed in the PRB report. So any additional allowance will need further consultation, obviously through the different ministries, civil service, and the PRB, so that we can accommodate this proposal.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. The Honourable Minister will agree with me that there is an association between skill mix and paramedical and medical skill mix and mortality rate within adults. Would you consider of posting more specialists in Rodrigues so that they don't need to work on a 24-hour basis, so they can work on shift, because it's humanly impossible for a doctor to work 24 hours and 7 on 7, specialist.
So this is the question. The question is, if somebody is posted, specialist, senior specialist in Rodrigues, how much time they have to devote in the services. For example, I've been posted to Rodrigues, and we attended work in the morning, and by latest at 2 o'clock, the work is over. So far, we get tangible figures about that specialist being posted in a particular field and that the workload has gone up. Obviously, more than 2 specialists will be posted at one time, but you have to give these figures, and then the ministry can accede to sending, instead of 1, 2 specialists.
The table has been advised that PQB 1536 has been withdrawn, and we move to Honorable Abbas Mahmoud.
1537.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed that for the period July to October 2023, the Consumer Affairs Unit of my ministry has inspected 2,820 trade premises, including supermarkets, shops, pharmacies, bakeries, hardware shops, trade, and market fairs, among others. Number B, we have also received 613 complaints relating to defective goods, misleading consumers, non-availability of goods, non-affixing of price label, selling controlled goods at higher price, amongst others. And we have also issued 614 contraventions, out of which 148 are fixed penalty notices. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am tabling a detailed list of those information.
The Minister give details regarding the category of contravention that have been issued.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the contraventions issued are mainly for failing to affix price labels, failing to submit return of cost, selling goods at higher price, using LPG in small cylinders other than for domestic use, and misleading price indication. Contraventions are established whenever any offenses are detected and traders are allowed to choose between a fixed penalty and a normal contravention. Much emphasis is laid on protecting and safeguarding the rights of consumers. With the increasing importance of the function of protecting consumers, coupled with the rising and legitimate demands of consumers, the Consumer Affairs Unit of my ministry is being called upon to deal with new challenges in an ever-changing environment. Since I was appointed as Minister of Commerce and Consumer Protection in August 2023, I have personally carried out inspections and checks in trade premises to ensure that consumer laws are being adhered to. The assistance of my ministry, also with the Ministry of Health, is being sought as and when required. For instance, I was made aware that traders are switching off their refrigerators and chillers outside trading hours. Immediately, inspections have been carried out accordingly.
Thank you, Speaker. Can the Honourable Minister inform the House the percentage of complaints that has been resolved by her ministry?
Mr. Speaker, sir, out of 613 complaints received, 505 have been resolved, representing 83%. Officers of my ministry are attending to the remaining complaints at the earliest, although some issues are cross-cutting and require intervention of third parties or additional documents from traders and complainants, including technical and counter reports, are being awaited. Thank you.
Next question, MP Ampol.
B 1538.
Monsieur le Président, l'article 3.3 de la Bank of Mauritius Act 2004 stipule que la banque doit, dans la poursuite de ses objectifs, exercer ses fonctions de manière indépendante. Par ailleurs, en vertu de l'article 12.1 de la Bank of Mauritius Act 2004, la politique générale des affaires et des activités de la banque, autre que la formulation et la détermination de la politique monétaire est sous réserve de la présente loi confiée à un conseil d'administration. L'article 12.3 de cette loi prévoit également que dans l'exercice de ses fonctions, le conseil d'administration n'est soumis à la direction ou au contrôle d'aucune autre personne ou autorité dans le but de renforcer l'indépendance de la Banque de Maurice. Monsieur le Président, à cet égard, la banque étant une institution fonctionnant de manière autonome et indépendante, il ne serait pas judicieux de ma part de divulguer les informations demandées. Merci.
Next question, Honorable Béranger. No, what? He is not replying to that your question. So what's supplementary? Are we inventing the wheel? The minister has refused to answer a question. What's supplementary? Show me the standing order. No, I don't believe your mouth. Show me written. No, I won't discuss. My ruling is final.
We have the wheel of fortune, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Béranger?
We have the wheel of fortune, Mr. Speaker.
B1539.
Mr. Speaker, sir, in my reply to PQB 1176 at our sitting of Tuesday, 17th October 2023, I had informed the House that for utility-scale energy generation, the Central Electricity Board invites bids through open advertised international bidding in order to obtain value for money and for greater competition and transparency. I had also informed the House that this was not the case during the period 2005 to 2014, when arrangements for the purchase of energy were entered into directly with interested parties such as Saraco PVP Company Limited and City Power. Mr. Speaker, sir, one of the objectives of energy transition is to reduce our dependence on fossil fuels and at the same time encourage a greater democratization of the energy sector. To this end, the Central Electricity Board has, over the recent years, launched several schemes for small, medium, and large prosumers and producers. A major challenge for large-scale RE utility projects remains the availability of land. We are all aware of the historical structure of land ownership in Mauritius. Large extents of land is concentrated in the hands of a few private sector operators. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Renewable Energy Roadmap approved by government provides for deployment of different renewable energy technologies such as solar PV, including floating PV, wind, both onshore and offshore, and marine technologies. In this context, the Central Electricity Board launched an international bidding exercise for the setting up of renewable energy hybrid facilities. These projects have been designed to generate firm power in our endeavor to gradually phase out the use of coal in our energy mix. 5 bidders participated in the exercise, namely Corex Solar International Mauritius, Q-Air International, Green Yellow, Aquo Austral Mauritius Limited, and Omnicane Calise JV Limited. On the 31st January 2023, as I had already informed the House in my reply to the aforementioned PQ, the Central Electricity Board awarded to Corex Solar International Mauritius Limited 2 contracts for the setting up of 30 megawatt renewable energy hybrid facility, REHF, which were found by the bid evaluation committee and the tender committee at the Central Electricity Board to be the lowest evaluated substantially responsive bids. The purchasing tariff was USD 0.0786 and MUR 0.9387, equivalent to rupees 5.009. Thereafter, Correct Solar International Mauritius Limited signed 2 power purchase agreements with the Central Electricity Board on the 15th of February 2023 for the installation of both renewable energy hybrid facilities projects of 30 megawatt each. The investment by the promoter is estimated at around 5 billion rupees from its funds. Mr. Speaker, sir, according to the provisions of the power purchase agreements, that is the PPA, Correct Solar International Mauritius Limited had a period of 9 months as from 15th February 2023, that is up to 14th November 2023, to achieve the conditions precedents specified in clause 3.1.2 of the power purchase agreement. I am informed by the Central Electricity Board that Correct Solar International Mauritius Limited has on 15th March 2023 submitted 2 development securities as part of condition precedents for a total amount of 180 million rupees for the 2 renewable energy hybrid facilities projects. I am further informed that as at 14th November 2023, Correct Solar International Mauritius Limited had provided the Central Electricity Board a letter of commitment in respect of the lease of 2 lots of land at Baie-du-Tombeau for the purpose of these projects, together with a title deed from the landowner. As per condition precedents under clause 3.1.2, documentary evidence of a clear title and possession of the site has not been submitted. The necessary clearances and financial close have not been executed. Mr. Speaker, sir, on the 13th November 2023, the Central Electricity Board wrote to Correct Solar International Mauritius to request for updates on the status of both projects, reminding the company that in line with Section 3.2.1 of the PPA, delay damages would be applicable if any of the conditions precedent is not fulfilled by the long stop date of 14th November 2023. On 14th November 2023, Correct Solar International Mauritius requested for an extension of the long stop date for a period of 6 months of account of factors that, according to the promoter, have directly impacted the progression and viability of its projects. I am informed that the Central Electricity Board has, in its reply to Correct Solar International Mauritius, on 16th November 2023, indicated that the request has not been entertained as the clauses of the power purchase agreement prevail and should be strictly adhered to. The Central Electricity Board is claiming delay damages for each day of delay from the development securities of Correct Solar International Limited as from 15th November 2023. It is to be noted that the power purchase agreement provides that an amount of 360,000 rupees per day is applied as delay damage. This will be appropriated progressively on a monthly basis and will be deducted on the first day of each month. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Central Electricity Board will continue to apply the provisions of the Power Purchase Agreement, just like in the case of Terragen, where maximum operational penalties of 88 million rupees were duly applied by the Central Electricity Board for breach of Power Purchase Agreement by Terragen. However, Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed that in the case of Saraco PVP Company Limited, where the Central Electricity Board allocated a contract with a guaranteed revenue of around 3 billion rupees without any tender exercise, at the time the ESPA was signed, the promoter was in possession of a letter of reservation only. I am further informed that the lease agreement was submitted after the long stop date and no delay damage was applied. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
L'honorable ministre, peut-il déposer sur la table une copie du Power Purchase Agreement, s'il vous plaît?
Monsieur le Président, avec votre permission, je voudrais informer à cette Chambre qu'il a été porté à ma connaissance que l'honorable membre qui pose cette question a été dans un passé récent un employé d'un des soumissionnaires de cet appel d'offres et de surcroît the second lowest bidder, Omnicane. And Mr. Speaker, sir, our rules have it, and I refer to the House of Commons, with regard to notice of questions. Declaration of relevant interest is required when giving notice of a question for oral or written answer, including urgent questions. I refer you also, Mr. Speaker, sir, to another declaration of interest that is with regard to debate. In a debate, a member is required to declare any relevant pecuniary interest or benefit of whatever nature, whether direct or indirect, that he may have had, may have, or may be expecting to have. Mr. Speaker, sir, this is what this is. I'll reply to your question. I'll reply to your question. Our rules, Mr. Speaker, are fundamental. Et je ne voudrais pas qu'un membre déroge des règlements de ce Parlement. Je vais répondre à la question, but she has to declare her interest if what has been brought to my knowledge is correct.
Okay, you made your point. You made your point. Don't rush, don't rush. Let me give my ruling. My ruling is that the honourable member should declare her interest before asking any question. She should, it is a responsibility of the member to declare her interest whenever this is needed. The clerk wouldn't know, the speaker wouldn't know what is the link between a member and any corporate activities or work or any transaction. So, the first ruling is, it is a responsibility for any member in this House to declare the link, to declare her interest or his interest towards any corporate, anybody, any group, number one. Number two, any member in this House should refrain from lobbying for a particular group. These are the two rulings. Now, order. 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 You shout, you don't shout, you'll have to go by my ruling. Take your time, shout as much as you want, but you will have to abide by my ruling. My ruling is final. I haven't finished with the member. Be patient. No, you have no right to speak. You don't have the floor. This is a fraudulent way of speaking. It's not practice. The speaker gives the floor. You never ask the floor, you don't have the floor. So, honorable member, if you want to declare your interest, you declare your interest first.
Monsieur le Président, je n'ai strictement aucun intérêt avec Omnicane. Je ne suis ni employé, ni rémunéré, ni actionnaire dans aucune des compagnies qui ont répondu à cet appel d'offres. Aucun intérêt avec Omnicane aujourd'hui, ni employé, ni actionnaire, ni rien. Je peux avoir une réponse à ma question maintenant?
Order. The honorable member is saying she has no interest to declare. And
yeah, she will have to assume a responsibility. As for myself, the question that she has asked,
order.
the question that...
If you want to stay in the House, order.
The question that she has asked is in relation whether I'm willing to table the power purchase agreement. I have no problem in tabling the power purchase agreement, Mr. Speaker. Sir.
Agreement. Can I have the copy, please?
That's why some time back I requested the member to learn how to put questions. She's putting the question now when she wants me to table the copy of the power purchase agreement now. I cannot do that now, Mr. Speaker, but at a later stage, I'll be very glad to table the power purchase agreement.
Deuxième question supplémentaire, mais d'abord j'aimerais rappeler à l'honorable membre que les standing orders l'empêchent de commenter la façon dont un membre pose ses questions. Donc lui aussi devrait bien connaître ses standing orders avant de venir faire la leçon aux autres. Oui, le ministre peut-il enfin venir confirmer que si la décision avait été prise de résilier le contrat avec Correct Solar, dès la première irrégularité, nous ne serions pas où nous sommes aujourd'hui avec encore un retard dans l'implémentation d'un projet d'énergie renouvelable et avec l'ICAC qui doit enquêter sur l'attribution de ce contrat. L'honorable ministre peut-il confirmer que cette décision aurait dû avoir été prise depuis longtemps ou au moins confirmer que cette décision sera prise et qu'un tender en bonne et due forme sera fait dans l'intérêt des contribuables et non pas dans son intérêt?
Again, Mr. Speaker, sir, I will refer the honourable member to our rules. In her question, she had stated C. C is hypothetical, and we cannot reply to a hypothetical question. That's the first thing. The second thing, the second thing, yes, ICAC is inquiring. We will wait for the outcome of the inquiry.
Next question. Order. You don't have the right to say things like that. No, you don't have the right. You know, you're a young member. You know, you should ask the chair permission to talk. You can't just outright like talking like this. This is not a bazaar. Oh, if you insist, you will walk out. Apologize to the House first. Do you apologize? Okay, thank you.
B1540. Mr. Speaker, sir, I propose to reply to PQ B1540 and B1555 together, since they relate to the same subject matter. I wish to inform the House that my office has sought and obtained information from the Office of the Honourable Acting Master and Registrar on this subject matter, and the information is as follows. With regard to Part A of PQ B1540 and B1540, A first letter from the Secretary of the Mauritius Bar Association was received by the then acting master and registrar on 16 February 2023, and another letter was received by the acting master and registrar on 14 September 2023. With regard to Part B of PQB 1540, I am informed that an inspection was carried out under Section 24 of the Occupational Safety and Health Act 2005 at the new courthouse, Popenici Street, Port Louis, by officers acting under the authority of the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Labour, Human Resource Development and Training, namely the Principal Occupational Safety and Health Officer, who was accompanied by Senior Occupational Safety and Health Officer, as well as Occupational Safety and Health Officers, together with representatives of the judiciary, on the 3rd, 7th, and 8th of March 2023. The report of the inspection has been provided to the Master and Registrar of the Supreme Court. In relation to the remedial action taken, I am informed by the Acting Master and Registrar as follows. 1. A contract for the value of 12.93 million rupees has been awarded for the installation of a variable refrigerant volume, VRV, air conditioning system. Works have started in June of this year and are currently being implemented. The VRV air conditioning system is meant to provide additional air conditioning to different areas with poor ventilation from the existing central air conditioning system at the new courthouse. This system will provide air conditioning to 41 offices, chambers, and courtrooms. The duration of works is 14 months. Expected completion date is July next year. 2. Another tender exercise is being carried out for the installation of additional ventilation equipment for all courtrooms of the new courthouse. 3. A tendering exercise will be launched for repairs to the central air conditioning system at new courthouse. Tenders will be floated for repairs by December of this year. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am also informed by the Acting Master and Registrar that the following long-term measures are also envisaged, namely a replacement of the current central air conditioning system by another air conditioning system, and in this respect, terms of reference are being prepared for the appointment of a consultant for the project preparation and implementation. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Section 7 of the Occupational Safety and Health Act, in respect of effective and suitable provision for adequate ventilation, talks about comfortable temperature and adequate ventilation. Can I ask the Honourable Minister, since he knows his law, and that the judiciary is currently in breach of the same law, in as much as magistrates and court employees are employed by the judiciary, to tell us at least, since he's not willing to table the report, the self and safety report, to tell us at least what the report says about the current state of affairs and the conclusion thereat.
I do not subscribe to the opinion of the Honourable Member stating that the judiciary is in breach of the law. I am not in a position to say whether they are in breach or not. That is another matter. With respect to the inspection carried out on the Occupational Safety and Health Act, I have informed the House that inspections were carried out on 3rd, 7th, and 8th of March of this year. The report has been provided to the Master. I am informed that the recommendations of the report are being implemented. It is all I can say, Mr. Speaker, sir. Insofar as tabling that report, I have to say that the report contains correspondences exchanged with the Master. I do not propose to table such a report.
Next question. MP Boda. What is it?
Well, he replied to 2 PQs. You gave one supplementary to my learned friend.
You have a
yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes. So the Honorable Attorney General mentioned that it is not until July next year that the repairs will be carried out at the new courthouse. So may I know from the Honorable Attorney General, in the meantime, whether mobile ventilation, mobile air conditioning can be placed at least in the courtroom where the public has access, where justice is being heard and delivered.
Once I have the mic, yes. I said that the works are ongoing. The completion date is July 2024. This is what I have been provided, Mr. Speaker, sir. The works have started in June of this year and are being implemented for a duration of works of 14 months with a completion date of July 2024. Now, whether les mesures palliatives, I am sure the honourable member can take it up at the appropriate forum. But I will also take it up with the acting master.
MP Bada.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. B1541.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to draw the attention of the honourable member that in budget estimate 2023-2024, under Word 15.1, item 31,113.003, subsection U, provision has been made for consultancy in respect to the M1, M3 link road at Hillcrest. This, of course, implies that government has already considered and included in its agenda the implementation of the project. In fact, since the opening of the Hillcrest flyover in 2021, my ministry has been looking into the possibility of connecting M1 to M3 at Hillcrest. With your permission, Mr. Speaker, sir, I will give some detail on the project itself. In fact, it comprises, firstly, the construction of a dual carriageway over a length of 2 kilometers and an interchange to link motorway M1 at Hillcrest to motorway M3 at Trianon. Secondly, the construction of 3 bridges, and thirdly, the construction of a new grade separated junction on motorway M3. The link road will enable traffic along motorway M3 from the region of Hualien-Eben, Trianon, and the north to bypass the congested regions of Eben and Saint-Jean when entering Quatre-Bornes via Hillcrest. Therefore, the link will help to, firstly, reduce traffic congestions and travel time along motorways M1 and M3, as well as to enhance accessibility by providing an alternative route from Quatre-Bornes to Trianon and vice versa. And secondly, enhance connectivity between the Plaine-Maillan region and the northern and eastern part of the island. The connection point on the motorway M3 is approximately 1.5 kilometers from the existing roundabout near Hualien. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm also informed by the Road Development Authority that an alignment of the proposed link road has been prepared at its level, that is by its technical staff. However, given the site conditions, there is need to carry out appropriate tests and investigation, such as geotechnical investigation and an environmental impact assessment for the project. In this respect, a procurement exercise to retain the services of a consultant to carry out these tasks is currently underway, and the contract is expected to be awarded in due course. The expected duration of the consultancy work is 4 months. In the meantime, procedures for the acquisition of lands required for the project have been initiated. Mr. Speaker, sir, based on the consultancy report, the RDA intends to implement the project on a design and build basis in the next financial year, subject to having the necessary budgetary provisions. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Mr. Speaker, sir, can I ask the Honourable Minister the cost of the estimates for the project?
Mr. Speaker, sir, as you know, this project will go on a bidding exercise eventually. So I don't think it's appropriate at this stage to give an estimate of the cost, given that I have said in my reply, it will be the tender will be on a design and build basis. So we want to have the best deal, so I don't think it's appropriate.
Next question.
B1542. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, sir, in my reply to PQB 1176 at our sitting of Tuesday, 17th October 2023, I had informed the House of the lack of concern for transparency prevailing at the Central Electricity Board between the years 2005 to 2014, when it was the practice to award huge contracts for utility-scale projects, either directly to a promoter or as a result of unsolicited bids from interested parties. I also cited two examples, and Saraco PVP Company Limited is one of them. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed that on 24th April 2012, the Central Electricity Board had received an unsolicited bid from Saraco PVP Company Limited for the supply of energy through the installation of a renewable energy facility of 15 megawatt. Thereafter, negotiations and discussions were held between both parties. On 20th May 2013, the Central Electricity Board approved the signature of the agreement with Saraco PVP Company Limited, and on 21st of May 2013, the Central Electricity Board signed the Energy Supply and Purchase Agreement, that is the ESPA, with Saraco PVP Company Limited for the development, construction, and operation of a 15 megawatt photovoltaic farm at Bamboo for an investment of around 1.1 billion rupees. The main shareholders of Saraco PVP Company Limited are Mr. S.S.S. with 85% of shares and Toba Solar Mauritius with 15%. Monsieur le Président, les promoteurs de Saraco ont bénéficié de toutes sortes de privilèges du gouvernement d'alors. Comparé aux appels d'offres lancés récemment par le CEB, où les promoteurs doivent acheter ou louer un terrain pour leur projet, Saraco avait obtenu du gouvernement un terrain de 80 arpents à la ferme Bambou à un prix dérisoire et seulement 50 arpents sont utilisés pour le besoin du projet photovoltaïque. Monsieur le Président, le contrat alloué à Saraco peut être qualifié d'éloquent. L'une des clauses des conditions précédentes exige du promoteur, et je cite, « Seller shall provide amongst other conditions precedent documentary evidence of the clear title and possession of the site in the name of seller, including any right of way for seller interconnection facilities within 90 days from the signature of the ESPA. Le CEB à l'époque avait exigé du promoteur de produire des preuves de propriété alors que le gouvernement d'alors avait déjà réservé un terrain pour la compagnie Saraco à Bambou. Contrairement aux procédures du ESPA, Saraco a soumis son titre de propriété au CEB après le délai de 90 jours. Mais aucune pénalité n'a été appliquée dans ce cas. Malgré toutes ces facilités octroyées à Saraco, le prix auquel le CEB achète de l'énergie de Saraco est loin d'être compétitif et beaucoup plus élevé que le prix du marché. Comme j'ai souligné dans ma réponse à la question B1176, le tarif auquel le CEB achète l'électricité à Saraco est actuellement de 8,03 roupies en comparaison à 2 roupies 74 payés à la compagnie Green Yellow qui a été alloué un contrat de 10 MW récemment suite à un exercice d'appel d'offres. Et les deux cas, Monsieur le Président, sont comparables car ce sont des fermes solaires sans batterie. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am further informed that Saraco PVP Company Limited started its operations on 18th February 2014, and as at now, the CB has already effected to Saraco PVP Company Limited payment to the tune of 1.49 billion rupees for 200 gigawatt hour. A further amount of around 1.4 billion rupees is expected to be paid till the expiry of the ESPA in year 2024. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed that in a letter dated 10 December 2021, Toba Solar TS Mauritius Limited informed that Saraco PVT Company Limited would be put under administration. TS Mauritius Limited averred that it was a shareholder, the main investor, partner, and the main creditor for a value of 32 million USD of the Saraco solar photovoltaic power plant since the outset of the project. However, Saraco PVT Company Limited defaulted its duties and obligations through late payments in the months of August, September, and November 2021, and failure to effect payment in December 2021 due to alleged malafide acts and doings of one director, Mr. S.S. The latter had allegedly purported to 1. Amend the constitutive documents of Saraco PVT Company Limited. 2. Revoke 2 directors and bank signatories of the company, one of whom is a shareholder. And 3. Appoint 2 new directors, one of whom is his own wife, in breach of the constitution of Saraco PVP Company Limited and of the restated subscription and shareholders agreement. This resulted in paralyzing the financial and administrative operations of Saraco PVP Company Limited and triggering a dispute and impending legal actions amongst shareholders of Saraco PVP Company Limited. Mr. Speaker, sir, owing to the failure of Saraco PVP Company Limited to honor its obligations under the facility agreement and alleged malafide and unlawful acts of Mr. S.S. Saraco PVP Limited was put under administration on 13th December 2021. This decision was taken by the shareholders with a view mainly to ensure that Saraco PVP Company Limited does not default on any of its duties and liabilities under the power purchase agreement, as well as to prevent Mr. S.S. and his associates from indefinitely paralyzing the financial and administrative operations of Saraco PVP Company Limited. Mr. Speaker, sir, an administrator was appointed on 13 December 2021 in line with Section 234 of the Insolvency Act, and a notice was published to inform the public accordingly. The administrator was replaced on 10th November 2022 and he is fulfilling the obligations under the Energy Supply and Purchase Agreement. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you, Speaker. Can Honourable Minister inform the House whether there is any ongoing enquiry on Saraco PVP Limited? Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir.
We move to the next question. MP Avance.
B 1543.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed that there are 6 warehouses for the storage of pharmaceutical products and medical disposables, but for my ministry, they are as follows: the ex-Tobacco Board building at Plaine-Lezan, the Central Supplies Division at Plaine-Lezan, the ex-Government Printing Building at La Tour-Kénic, the ex-DWC building at Gibis Pai, the NIC building Castel, and the Prashantex building La Rosa New Grove. 2 of these buildings are rented, namely NIC building Castel and Prashantex building at La Rosa New Grove, and the 4 others are government owned. Mr. Speaker, sir, since 2001, the Ministry of Health was also renting premises at Sunray building Coromandel for the storage of pharmaceutical products and medical disposables. However, the building was in a bad condition with minimal repairs carried out by the owner. Since 2004, several attempts to relocate the warehouse to other rented premises, with tenders launched on several occasions from 2004 to 2021 without any success. A structural investigation report by the then Ministry of Public Infrastructure, Land, Transport and Shipping also concluded that the Sunray building was in a structurally poor condition and with some of its structure members in an advanced state of deterioration. Expression of interest was again launched in 2021 for the renting of a building for warehouse purpose, following which a building at New Grove was proposed. However, since the building was under construction, no further action was taken. On 14 June 2022, another tender exercise was launched, following which, on 27 December 2022, the offer for the renting of office space, warehouse with amenities was awarded in respect of Prashantex building La Rosa. In December 2022, the store items were relocated to ex-government printing building. The Sunray building was released, and the rental amount of 514,073 rupees, including VAT, was stopped as from 1st January 2023. Mr. Speaker, sir, in regard to part B1 of the question, in respect of the Castel warehouse, my ministry entered into a lease agreement for a period of 2 years in 2020 with the NIC. Recently, it was agreed in principle for the renewal of the lease agreement for a period of 3 years on the understanding that NIC will carry out the structural repairs at the building by end of this year. Concerning La Rosa warehouse, Ministry has been occupying the ground floor of the building since January 2023. As from 2nd October 2023, the first and second floors of the building are being occupied as well. Ultimately, ex-Tobacco Board and ex-DWC building warehouses would be closed down. The lease agreement for La Rosa warehouse is being finalized accordingly. Mr. Speaker, sir, as regards part B of the question, B2 of the question, the amount paid as rental for Castel warehouse and La Rosa warehouse, respectively, as from January 2023 to date, as follows: Castel warehouse, monthly rent amount of 752,100 rupees, VAT included, and for La Rosa warehouse, the monthly rental amount of 1,187,284 rupees and 73 cents, VAT included.
Le ministre peut nous confirmer que le bâtiment qui est en location à New Grove, est-ce qu'il peut nous confirmer l'état du bâtiment? Est-ce qu'il a eu un valuation report sur l'état du bâtiment, que le bâtiment est en bon état, qui abrite aujourd'hui le storage de tout ce qui est médicaments?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir, I believe this exercise will be carried out, but with the recent heavy rainfall, there has been leakage of this building, and the owner has taken the responsibility of doing the repairs and so on. And the same has happened for all the buildings where the warehouses are kept. Yeah.
A confirmé dans sa réponse que le tender a été lancé, puis retender, et que le bâtiment de New Grove a été choisi. Est-ce qu'il peut nous confirmer que ce bâtiment appartient à un certain monsieur AS, proche du MSM, et qu'il vient de confirmer que le loyer mensuel est environ de 1 million de roupies?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir, what I can confirm the value, but I don't have the information for the Prussian text, who is the owner of the plant. I obviously will give you the name of the owner, but at the same time, there has been a tender exercise. With the tender exercise, an evaluation has been carried out, and whoever has tendered for the renting of space by the Ministry of Health, they have to go forward if ever there has been anything that has not been done following the process, and not like this is an unsolicited bid that we have recently heard, and not that this building is being paid 1 billion rupees for the loss. This one is 1 million, yes, not 1 billion.
The table has been advised that PQB 1545, 1547, 1549, 1554, 1558, 1559, 1562, 1563, 1568, 1550, 1560 have been withdrawn. Next question.
B 1544, please.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed by the Municipal Council of Aqua Phoenix that open drain are maintained by in-house labor, while cleaning and maintenance of covered drain are outsourced. With regards to parts A and B of the question, I'm tabling the requested information. As regard to part C of the question, I'm informed by the Municipal Council of Aqua Phoenix that the total cost incurred for cleaning and maintenance of existing drain is around 15.3 million, which include cleaning work undertaken since 2021 and new work currently being undertaken for this financial year. Open drain, which are cleaned by in-house labor, is done during normal working hours. The Council undertake a yearly survey to assess the status of existing drain. Same is cleaned whenever required. I'm also informed by the Council that the Land Drainage Authority has, on the 18th of September 2023, submitted a new list of drains to be cleaned and maintained by the Council, for which a survey is presently being undertaken to assess the nature of the work prior to preparation of a specification for launching of the bids.
I ask the Honourable Vice Prime Minister whether there is a protocol in place between the Land Drainage Authority and the Municipal Council of Aqua Phoenix with regard to sharing of responsibilities where there are overlappings of drains. In the region of Aqua and Phoenix, there are overlapping of drains that are under the control of the Road Development Authority and the Municipal Council of Aqua Phoenix. Whether there is such a protocol in place for a proper monitoring.
Actually, the major road, like motorways and all that, are looked after by the RDA, whereas other type of the minor roads are looked after by the council.
Next question.
B1546, merci.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed that the Community Development Association of the Résidence Loiseau Community Centre comprises 13 members, the chairperson being Mrs. Linda Lee Buisang. I'm tabling the names of the other members.
Excusez-moi, Monsieur le Président, la ministre pourrait-elle indiquer à la Chambre quand exactement le comité a été reconstitué, s'il vous plaît? Merci.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I have no idea when the committee was set up, but I haven't finished with my answer. I haven't finished with the answer yet.
Alors, selon mes renseignements, le comité
J'ai pas terminé. Okay. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to Part B of the question, I'm informed that the Sugar Industry Labour Welfare Fund, that the centre is fully operational and recreational activities are regularly organised thereat. The state of the building is monitored by the responsible officers of the centre, and whenever any shortcoming is noted, necessary actions are taken to redress the situation. I'm further informed that works with respect to reparation of plumbing system and electrical wiring have been carried out at the community centre. I'm also apprised that the children's playground has been recently upgraded. Further, procedures are underway for capital projects such as the fencing of the centre and the replacement of tiles and aluminium doors. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed that funds have been provided, have been earmarked for the refurbishment of the centre in the financial year 2023-2024. Thank you.
Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président. Bon, je comprends très bien que ce n'est pas la ministre de tutelle qui est là, et je la remercie pour l'honnêteté qu'elle a eue dans sa réponse. Vraiment.
Thank you.
Alors, effectivement, les photos que j'ai moi aussi parlent d'elles-mêmes. La situation est lamentable. La ministre pourrait-elle clarifier la position de ce ministère face au manque d'attention accordée à ce centre communautaire à Floréal?
Mr. Speaker, sir, from the information that I have, there has been funds earmarked to refurbish the centre. So I suppose that works would be, and I've been told that procedures are underway for the implementation of these capital projects.
Next question. Sufficiently canvassed. I'm told question B, 1551. Honorable Wuchit, it's your question.
1551.
1551. Oh, you've withdrawn it?
No, no, no.
Ah.
B 1551.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed by the National Social Living Development Limited that the site at Arsenal earmarked for the construction of social housing units is not located on wetland. However, the site does include some low-lying areas. I'm further informed that the necessary clearances in respect of the site have been obtained from the Ministry of Environment, Solid Waste Management and Climate Change, as well as from the Land Drainage Authority, subject to certain conditions. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm informed by the NSLD that all conditions prescribed by the Ministry of Environment on the one hand and by the LDA on the other hand are being complied with to address risks of inundation during heavy rainfall. These conditions refer to both on-site and off-site measures. On-site measures include upgrading of the man-made canal on the site, provision of a ridge to protect the site from canal and upstream flows, fitting of all internal roads with appropriate reinforced concrete drains, and provision of 4 attenuation basins. Off-site measures to be implemented by the Drains Infrastructure Construction Limited, DICL, include upgrading of culverts on Malakoff Road and on the A4 Grand Bay Road, construction of a cut-off swale along eastern boundary with outfall to the man-made canal, construction of a cut-off drain along Malakoff Road, upgrading of the canal on western boundary construction of a cut-off swale along eastern boundary with outfall to River Citron.
Can the government disclose any alternative sites that were considered for the construction of these housing units, particularly those not located in the flood-prone areas? And if it is so, what was the reason for choosing the current site despite its potential environmental vulnerabilities?
With all due respect, I'm not sure the honourable member has understood my answer. Let me explain. Let me try to be more clear than maybe I have been. There was no alternative site considered for the simple reason that this site was deemed appropriate, subject to conditions being met. These conditions were laid out by the Ministry of Environment on the one hand, and the Land Drainage Authority on the other hand. Appropriate measures are being taken in line with the conditions proposed by the respective authorities to ensure that any risks of eventual inundation are addressed.
I'm advised PQB 1553 has been withdrawn. Time over.
Motion.
That all the business on today's order paper be exempted from the provisions of paragraph 2 of Standing Order 10.
Seconded. The question is that all the business on today's order paper be exempted from the provisions of paragraph 2 of Standing Order 10. Those in favour say aye. Those against say no. Aye. Ayes have it.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to make a statement following the matter raised by the third member for Port Risnov and Montaillon on the adjournment on Tuesday, 14th of November 2023, with regard to thefts, vandalism, drug dealing, and prostitution in Saint-Michel Street at Cité Roma, Richter. I am informed by the Commissioner of Police that in order to address any illegal and illicit activity in Saint-Michel Street, Cité Roma, Richter, the police has taken the following measures thereto. One, regular crackdown operations are being carried out to curb down cases of larceny, prostitution, acts of vandalism, as well as drug peddling and trafficking. 2, regular mobile patrols are being effected day and night by regular police, the Emergency Response Service, the Divisional CID, Divisional Supporting Units, and ADSU. 3, the Divisional Commander, Northern Division, holds daily monitoring meetings with station commanders and station managers in order to assess the daily occurrences reported during the preceding 24 hours and reviews his deployment plan and strategies to tackle crimes and other illegal activities. 4, optimum use of safe city cameras is being made for monitoring the movements of habitual criminals and suspicious persons and vehicles. 5, the local police, in collaboration with the Crime Prevention Unit, the ADSU Education Cell, and the Brigade pour la Protection de la Famille, are conducting sensitization campaigns in community centers and schools to raise awareness on measures to prevent larcenies and the ill effects of drugs. 6, the Crime Prevention Unit, together with the Community Policing Officer and the Neighborhood Officer of Terre Rouge, have been working closely with the Force Vive New Wave of Cité Roma, Richter, and other volunteers. 7, the holding of exhibitions by the Crime Prevention Unit in collaboration with other adjuncts of the police force, such as the Road Safety Unit, the Brigade pour la Protection de la Famille, and the ADSU at Jumbo Richter to empower the community of the area with crime prevention methods to better protect themselves. 8. Members of the public, including whistleblowers and informers, are being encouraged to use the police toll-free and anonymous hotline 148 to share information on illegal activities within that region. And 9, the police is working in partnership with private security companies for the sharing of information on suspicious persons. Furthermore, I am informed by the Commissioner of Police that 1. The frequency of mobile patrols and police presence have been increased in that region, and 2. Police officers of Terre Rouge Police Station and other adjuncts of the police force have scheduled a meeting this evening with the Force Vive New Wave of Cité Roma, as well as the residents of that area, to discuss ways to prevent recurrence of such cases. And I have requested also the Commissioner of Police to reinforce its surveillance in this area. Thank you.
Second reading.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for allowing me to bring my own contribution and perspective to the debates on the Mauritius Agricultural Marketing Amendment Bill. The novelty of this bill is that it establishes a national wholesale market as the only place for conducting wholesale auction of locally produced vegetables, fruits, and flowers. Many orators have spoken before me, so I don't intend to have a long discourse. Much of the comments offered by the members of the other side of the House have been rebutted already. However, it is important that we uphold and emphasize the tremendous efforts consented by some 10,000 vegetable and fruit growers who guarantee a constant supply of fresh vegetables for our daily consumption. Indeed, we need to take a few moments to acknowledge the contribution of those who put their hearts and souls into agricultural produce. And we pay tribute to all those who contribute to bring food to our table. Mr. Speaker, sir, these growers, these planters, they face all the obstacles and impediments tossed at them, such as drought, flooding, cyclone, and now scarcity of additional labor. But in the face of all these difficulties, they come up with courage and determination because they have the passion and the drive for their work. We therefore need to acknowledge their resolve in the face of adversity. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the field of agriculture, there has been constant evolution. From the pre-independence era to date, things have evolved and evolved positively. Days before, years back, we used to adopt what we call the traditional or conventional method of farming. We have moved today to smart farming. And what does that involve? We are adopting day by day examples such as sheltered farming, hydroponic, aquaponic, vertical tower growing, rooftop farming, agriculture raisonnée, biofarming. Oui, speak of all these things every day now. Zero budget natural farming. Mr. Speaker, sir, on the level of the National Cooperative College, as well as SME Mauritius, two institutions, organizations that fall under my responsibility. These two institutions have offered numerous courses around the island with regard to those models of farming that I have just mentioned here. Of course, they get a certificate at the end of the course, of the different sessions that they have, and then both SME Mauritius and the National Cooperative College, they intimate all the trainees after having completed their course to go into business. We do follow all these trainees and we put in front of them all the facilities offered, especially from financing institutions, such as Development Bank of Mauritius, MoBank, as well as the other commercial banks as well. This is why today we see so many sheltered farmings in every corner of the island. There is a proliferation of hydroponic from north to south, east to west, and you go everywhere. In Triolet, in Bel Air, in Rosebel, in Henrietta, Cluny, Bimanic. My friend, Honorable Boulel is not here, but the chief whip is here. You will acknowledge the number of sheltered farming in Bimanic, in Cluny. It's amazing to see all these things over there. Why do I say that? Because the other day, the Honorable Leader of Opposition stated, and this is what he stated. If I can read an extract of his speech. So they have suffered, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir. And how long will these small planters be with us? How many young people actually join in the small planting community? Not many, according to him. I have spoken to, this is what he says. I have spoken to a lot living in Goodlands, for instance. They tell me, you know, my children are lawyers, teachers, civil servants. They are not going to be small planters like me. End of quote here. But those people who adopt this model of farming, I mean hydroponic, aquaponic, etc. You know who they are, Mr. Speaker, sir? They are young people. They are graduates. They are people who have completed tertiary education. And many of them are women. So, the acreage previously under cultivation is not the benchmark to say that we are producing less and less. We have a new breed of growers, as I said, women and young persons. There's a new mindset, a new vision for better yield. The whole ecosystem has changed. There's a new ecosystem. So much so that now we call agribusiness and not agriculture. Mr. Speaker, sir. Now, at the other end, not the other hand, but at the other end of the distribution channel, both government and local authorities have been renovating or even constructing new retail markets, what we call bazaar. And I can give you a lot of examples. For example, Rosebel, Maïbo, Montagne Blanche. Quatre-Beaune is a vivid example where we had the Honorable Prime Minister inaugurating this marketplace a few years back. My good friend, Honorable Kaviramano, is here. It's an appropriate and very conducive market. which is very spacious, a lot of stalls, appropriate parking space, very clean and tidy. So what we have been doing is that we have been supplying the appropriate infrastructure to the consumers. In my own constituency and the constituency of my good friend, Honorable Laudoyal, we are completing the construction of a new market, and which is due to open in the early months of next year. We have various amenities, as I said, with running water, etc. Therefore, the end consumers et les maraîchers now share conducive and a pleasant environment for shopping of vegetables, fruits, and even flowers. Mr. Speaker, sir. What is the missing link then? The missing link is where the planters, growers, they meet the maraîchers. We cannot continue with Vacua, Flac, and Port Louis. This is not what the youth and the women who, after having followed the courses in smart agriculture, need to go. And this is where now the Wootton National Wholesale Market fits in. It is centrally located, access from every corner of the island. It is clean and spacious, although I concede that new measures need to be taken, but I'm sure my able friend, Honorable Laudoyal, will address these issues as raised by certain members of the opposition. There are definitely teething problems, and this happens everywhere with a new program. I myself, I have made 3 visits over there, and I can tell you that the planters are happy today. It is certainly not a white elephant, as expressed by the Honorable Leader of Opposition the other day. But the biggest problem faced by our growers, planters, Mr. Speaker, sir, you know what? It is theft, robbery. This is the biggest problem. And theft occurs at 2 levels. One at field level, and also it used to occur at auction level. At field level, this is a national phenomenon, Mr. Speaker, sir. Fruits, vegetables, for example, bananas, are being stolen every day, if not every night. Et les planteurs sont impuissants devant cet état de choses. There has been different encounters between the thieves and the planters. And there has been fatalities as well. This is the biggest problem. And I don't understand. The Honorable Leader of Opposition said that he went to meet the planters. And I imagine how come the planters have not reported this important issue to him. Either they have reported and he has not dared to mention it here. I think so. But this is the biggest problem. Robbery at field level. Secondly, at auction level as well. At Vacua, at Flac, and at Port Louis, growers who bring their produce over there are being harassed to hand over part of their produce under threat. Unfortunately, there are not many policemen on the beat at that time. I have a friend who grows melon, watermelon, who lives in Clémencia, at a larger scale. Now is the harvest season now. And he told me after the opening of the auction market in Wootton that he feels relieved now. That when he had to bring his produce to the auction market in Vacua or Flac or even in Port Louis, the lorry is going, but he has had to secure help of, additional persons just to safeguard himself and his produce over there. And the timing of the auction was 3 a.m., 2 a.m., he has to embark all his produce on the lorries and go there. And with this, with this time, you don't have many people working for you today. This is a scarcity, as I mentioned earlier. It was hard for him to find people. And he congratulated government. And he told me to congratulate even my good friend ministers, Mr. Odoyal and Mr. Sirotan and Mr. Gobin, who are not here today, as well as the Prime Minister, for the initiative they have taken to set up this auction market in Wooton. Now, this issue of pilferage is behind us now. But more importantly, if you value the loss, or let me put it this way, if we value the savings from the pilferage, it outweighs by large the additional cost of transport that the planters have to bear. The Honourable Leader of Opposition mentioned about the 25 rupees per crate additionally, but by far this saving outweighs the cost. And gone are the days that there is no way that anyone who has nothing to do with agricultural business goes to harass planters or even auctioneers at the auction market now. This, the Honourable Leader of Opposition has failed to mention here. Mr. Speaker, sir, we have had to preserve the channel integrity. Now we have licensed auctioneers. We have done away with unscrupulous middlemen. We have a better regulated process that ensures more equity, fairness, and security. And also, we are doing justice to these products that is from, allons dire, hydroponic to smart markets, but without transiting through muddy soil and road pavement as it used to be previously. Mr. Speaker, sir, I have with me a pamphlet which is issued by the Food and Agricultural Research and Extension Institute, which falls under the responsibility of my colleague, the Minister of Agro-Industry, and it is entitled Modernization and Innovation in the Food Crop and Livestock Sectors. In this pamphlet, there is a list of some 16 different schemes that is offered by the ministry through FARE. Very interesting. A lot of grants, a lot of incentives provided to the agricultural sector. Mr. Speaker, so one of the schemes is a solar-powered cold room, and which befits very well in this ecosystem with the coming into operation of the auction market in Wooton. What does it say? The solar-powered cold room, a grant of 50% on the cost of investment up to a maximum of 400,000 rupees. Very interesting, Mr. Speaker, sir. So, in order to address the issue of transport, those who come from remote, distant places, the coming into operation of a solar-powered cold room would help to reduce. So I invite planters who are not in cooperative societies to set up cooperative societies, regroup themselves, and then apply to set up a solar-powered cold room. How would that help? They could harvest their produce, store it in the cold room for 1 day, 2 days, all the planters I mean, and then secure a transport at the end of 2 or 3 days and come to the auction market at Wootton, share the cost of transport equally between themselves. Instead of coming every day, they could come, say, twice a week or 3 times a week. We have to adapt with the changing circumstances, Mr. Speaker, sir. As I said, the national auction market is yet another step in the sensitization or the sanitization process that take vegetable produce from field to our plates. There are, of course, certain hiccups, certain teething problems. Certain planters spoke to me only yesterday, and I would urge my friend, the Honourable Minister, to look after it. We have a few cake sellers or snack sellers over there, and they come and sort of obstruct, the disembarkation of the vegetables. So this is only a simple administration process that we need to address, and this can be addressed, of course, overnight. I refer to the speech of Minister Siratan, Honourable Siratan, who is not here, and he mentioned that there are 2 phases to that project. We have been able to open and therefore tackle the first phase. The second phase, I am sure we will come and adopt all what needs to be in order to have the second phase operational very, very soon. So, I will urge all the planters and all the auctioneers to take good advantage of this beautiful warehouse, which is situated in a very appropriate area with lots of parking facilities. And with this, Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm done. Next orator would be
Mr. Speaker, sir.
Hasno.
Mr. Speaker, sir, thank you for giving me the opportunity to bring my contribution to the Mauritius Agricultural Marketing Amendment Bill. I wish to commend my colleague, Honourable Erdogan, the Minister of Agro-Industry and Food Security, for coming up with amendment to this bill, which deal mainly with the wholesale by auction of locally produced vegetables, fruits and flowers at no other place than the national wholesale market at Wootton. Mr. Speaker, sir, in a recent past, we have witnessed the sale by auction of vegetables, fruits and flowers in site that was inappropriate for such practice. There was a total absence of hygiene. Here, Mr. Speaker, sir, I can mention that as an inhabitant of Port Louis, I've had the chance to see the wholesale market in Port Louis since I was very young. I'm talking in the 50s and 60s. And I would dare not describe how poor the hygienic condition was, the hygiene was at that particular time. And this has not changed much, Mr. Speaker. There was total lack of hygiene. And other thing as well, there was no control of the price. The risk of contamination was high, amongst other concerns. This particular situation has been occurring for quite a long time. But this government has taken the necessary measures to bring a solution to this situation. I heard some speakers saying about the teasing problems that we are getting. In any major project like this, you are bound to get teething problem. And gradually as we go, this is going to be solved. Other members are saying that, okay, one is not enough, we must have second, third, and fourth, one north, south, east, another market there. Okay, I mean, at least the government has done the first step, Mr. Speaker, sir. This has not been done before. It's the first time we are doing it. And if needs be, I'm sure, if needs be, if there is a need to open the market, I'm sure the government would consider that in the future. So it's the first step. I think, give us time, the minister would assess the situation and would proceed accordingly. The Honourable Prime Minister came forward with this bold decision of setting up a national wholesale market to address all the concerns you have mentioned. As a result, today, we have obtained a modern and sophisticated national wholesale market at Wotton, which is a first of its kind in the Southern Hemisphere. The national wholesale market has been in operation since July 2023 and has since contributed mainly in improving the livelihood and sustainability of the producers in the non-sugar cane sector, providing quality produce at an affordable price to consumers, ensuring transparency, traceability, and accountability, and providing financially sustainable and modern marketing infrastructure for the handling of vegetable, fruits, and flowers. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is to be noted that previously, fruits and vegetables were being traditionally traded at street auction sites, as mentioned before, at Port Louis, Vaqua, and Flac. However, with time, this site became inappropriate to cater for the volume of fruits and vegetables being traded during auction due to a number of reasons. Firstly, the absence of control because of the odd operating hours, as mentioned by many speakers. A lot of the farmers have to bring their produce at about 1 o'clock in the morning. Has to get it sorted out, put it on the pavement for the auction to start up about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, or 5 o'clock. It was very difficult for the farmers to deal with this because there were a lot of issues. I've mentioned about the poor hygienic condition. Insufficient lighting, because I know about this because the auction place in Port Louis was in my constituency, in number 3. So I know the problems that we were facing there, Mr. Speaker, sir. I mentioned the poor hygienic condition, insufficient lighting, that we can vouch, and that leads to a lot of problems as well. Risk of contamination, the high insecurity for planters and buyers, which is very important. We know that when the buyers they bring their produce here in the market, en qu'est-ce pomme d'amour pour disparaître. Parfois, 0 mot melon d'eau pour disparaître. We know that. And that was happening every time there was the wholesale market there. And other thing as well is the lack of market statistics on volume traded and wholesale price. There was no transparency on the price at the expense of the planters and the consumers. And I mentioned earlier, there was no traceability of the produce, which is important because when we talk about fertilizers and all that, traceability is very important, Mr. Speaker, sir. C'est pourquoi. And there was minimal enforcement of food security, food safety regulation. Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to inform the House that the largest auction market in Port Louis was at the Lancan in Port Louis, in my constituency, prior to the coming into operation of the national wholesale market. According to a study conducted by the consultant in 2021, it was found that around 40% of the auction was being carried out in Port Louis, as I mentioned. However, Mr. Speaker, the chaotic situation that was being experienced thereat, especially on Friday night, as auctioning was taking place, not only inside the site reserved for such trade, but on the street in the vicinity as well. It was a complete chaos sometimes for not only the businesses operating in the vicinity, but also for the inhabitants residing in that region. Because this market was in Konyolov, I know what the inhabitant of Konyolov was going through whenever we have the auction market. As the Lancan in Port Louis was located in number 3, I often receive all sorts of complaints from residents and business people as well. The nature of this complaint, as mentioned, was primarily large amount of stinking waste left by auctioneers attracted by all sorts, by animals, rodents, and flies, just representing an eyesore and a health hazard to the inhabitant. It was proving very difficult for the health inspectors of the Municipal Council of Port Louis to ensure proper management of these sites. The Market Traders Association lodged a case in the Supreme Court for illegal hawking activities, thus creating unfair competition toward traders at the central market. So you can see there was a lot of local problem when the wholesale market was in Port Louis, Mr. Speaker, sir. According to the study, 35% of auction activities were taking place at VACWA, and same account for some as per other studies. Here, besides the common shortcoming, there was also the risk of accident in the auction itself, since certain auctioneers were circulating inside the auction site with a vehicle. You can imagine. So many planters had brought their produce and put on the floor, and there somebody coming with his lorry and driving near all his produce. You can imagine, Mr. Speaker, sir. The third auction site was at Central Flag, accounting for about 20-25% of the auction activities as per the study. Besides the common shortcomings, same was also, that is, the flag auction site was also creating heavy traffic congestion, being given that it was located in the center of the village. Mr. Speaker, sir, the national wholesale market has been set up to address the shortcoming occurring in those traditional auction markets. Furthermore, resources which were being used by local authorities concerned to control this auction are now being used in a more effective and efficient manner for the operation of the normal markets and fairs under the jurisdiction of these local authorities. Mr. Speaker, sir, in view of providing the necessary statutory backup for operational procedures within the national wholesale market at Luton, the Mauritius Agricultural Marketing Regulation 2023 were made and are effective as from 20th of July 2023. As at date, 43 auctioneers are registered with the Agricultural Marketing Board and are operating as a national wholesale market, as was mentioned before. However, since the functioning of the national wholesale market, the Ministry of Agro-Industry and Food Security has received several representations in respect of parallel and illegal auction activities of locally produced vegetables, fruits and flowers at certain locations. The auctioneers who are registered with the Agricultural Marketing Board and operating as the new national wholesale market informed us that the volume of business has decreased at some time due to these auction activities. Without any delay, I co-chaired a meeting with the then Minister of Agro-Industry, together with representatives of the Police Department, the local authorities concerned, and the Agricultural Marketing Board and the Association des Inventaires to discuss the matter. At the meeting, it was agreed that the officers of the local authorities and the police should carry out joint site visits and take appropriate action against illegal auctioneers. However, it was also observed that there were some auction activities which were being carried out where the operators had valid business registration card issued by the corporate CBRD. During that meeting, it was decided to set up a technical committee under the chair of my ministry to discuss the matter and to come up with recommendations. The technical committee included representatives from the Ministry of Agro-Industry, Attorney General Office, Police Department, Agricultural Marketing Board, the Corporate and Business Registration Department, and the local authority concerned. With a view to remedy the situation, the technical committee recommended that the appropriate amendment be brought to the AMB Act with consequential amendment to the relevant legislation, including the Local Government Act, in order to make the national wholesale market the sole place for the wholesale activities of vegetables, fruits, and flowers. In addition, the committee also recommended that the Ministry of Agro-Industry should initiate appropriate action in consultation with the Attorney General Office to bring the necessary amendment to the AMB Act. Mr. Speaker, sir, the bill also provides for consequential amendment be made to Local Government Act in the 12th schedule so that auctioneers under the Mauritius Agricultural Marketing Act are not subject to the provision of the Local Government Act. Mr. Speaker, sir, the advent of the national wholesale market at Wootton has brought about a new and modern trading environment with numerous benefits to planters and consumers. This initiative will ensure better transparency and traceability, as mentioned before, in trade, as well as improve food safety and minimize food waste and loss. In addition, the weighing equipment, which are readily available on site, are calibrated properly. As such, data collected for volume traded is much more accurate. I think that's very important here, to get the volume of trade accurate, because I think over the year, once we get to know how much food are being produced and sold over the years, it's going to be very important. Then it can help to regulate the market, Mr. Speaker. Sir. I'm just going to give you an example. During some time of the year, pom damu is sold at 40 rupees per pound. Some other time of the year, 100 rupees per pound. If we have better control of the volume of produce coming, and maybe with time, I'm not an agronomist, but the agronomist can try to work out if we can have different strain. Once we know the market flow, then we can work scientifically to get additional different strain so that we can grow the vegetable at different time of the year in different climate, and that can improve the situation for the planters and for the consumers also. Food safety and consumption is a shared responsibility between government, producers, and consumers. And everybody has a role to play in this sector to ensure that food we consume is safe to our health and well-being. Today, Mr. Speaker, sir, this government is presenting a bill to the House which has taken into consideration all aspects of food hygiene and price, ranging from production, auction to consumption. This bill, Mr. Speaker, will ensure a high degree of confidence in the local food production and sector. On an ending note, sir, we are confident that this bill will upgrade the food production sector in Mauritius, and on this side of the House, we entirely support this bill. Thank you very much, sir.
Members, I'll suspend the sitting for 45 minutes.